Could the king of rock and roll still be alive? Dive into the mystery as we unravel 20 shocking facts that suggest Elvis Presley faked his own death. From mysterious sightings to bizarre coincidences, discover the grand scam that has kept fans guessing for decades. No official autopsy report. The mysterious death of Elvis Presley on August 16, 1977, at age 42, has long been shrouded in controversy, primarily due to the lack of a publicly released autopsy report. Typically, such reports are either released to the public or leaked over time, but no detailed autopsy for Elvis has ever surfaced. This secrecy has fueled speculation and conspiracy theories about the true nature of his death. The official cause of death was heart failure, yet conflicting reports about drug use and health issues have clouded the narrative. The absence of a detailed autopsy report raises questions about whether the true circumstances of his death are being concealed. Some believe that Elvis might have staged his death to escape the pressures of fame and live a quieter life in hiding. Adding to the mystery, it is rumored that the Presley family sealed the autopsy results for 50 years to prevent further investigation, a level of secrecy that is highly unusual and has only intensified the speculation. If heart failure and poor health were indeed the causes of death, the rationale behind withholding such information remains unclear. Conflicting accounts from medical professionals who were reportedly present during the autopsy further complicate the situation. Inconsistencies and the silence of some involved parties have only fueled doubts about the official story. Despite petitions from fans and researchers for the release of the autopsy, it remains undisclosed. This ongoing mystery has left many wondering if Elvis truly passed away or if he faked his death to escape his public life. 2 misspelled name on the tombstone. One peculiar detail cited by conspiracy theorists to support the claim that Elvis Presley faked his death is the misspelling of his middle name on his tombstone. At Graceland, his middle name is inscribed as Aaron, rather than the Aaron Elvis reportedly preferred. This discrepancy has fueled debates, with some suggesting it's a deliberate hint that the grave is a decoy and Elvis is still alive. Elvis had changed the spelling of his middle name to Aaron during his lifetime, a change reflected in official documents like his birth certificate. So, why would his family use the old spelling after his death? For conspiracy theorists, this misspelling is seen as a deliberate clue, arguing that if Elvis had truly died, his family would have ensured every detail was correct. Adding to the intrigue, some sources claim Elvis had discussed staging his death before 1977, proposing that the misspelling was a way to preserve his legacy while maintaining privacy. The tombstone has become a pilgrimage site for fans and theorists who believe in this grand illusion. While skeptics view the misspelling as a simple error, for believers, it remains a significant piece of evidence suggesting the king may still be alive. Whether it was a mistake, a deliberate act, or a clue left by Elvis, the misspelled name continues to spark speculation. 3. The alleged wax body. One of the more bizarre conspiracy theories about Elvis Presley's death suggests that the body shown at his funeral was actually a wax figure, not his real body. This theory, though widely dismissed, persists among some fans. They point to several oddities to support this claim, including the body's unusual appearance and reports of sweating. Witnesses at Elvis' funeral noted that the body in the casket didn't look like the king they remembered. Some said his face seemed unnaturally smooth, hinting it might have been a wax replica. This suspicion is bolstered by Elvis's deteriorated health and weight gain prior to his death, which would have made him look significantly different. Another supporting detail is the claim that the body appeared to be sweating. Given that Elvis' funeral took place in the hot, humid summer of Memphis, this is not entirely implausible. Wax figures can sweat when exposed to high temperatures. The casket's reportedly heavy weight also adds to the theory, with some speculating it contained a refrigeration unit to prevent the wax from melting. Proponents of this theory argue that a wax figure allowed for a dignified public farewell, while Elvis himself went into hiding. Though most dismiss this as fanciful, the notion of a wax body at Elvis' funeral continues to intrigue and captivate those fascinated by the mystery of his death. The mysterious insurance policy. One compelling element fueling the theory that Elvis Presley faked his death is the mysterious case of his unclaimed life insurance policy. Despite being one of the most valuable estates in entertainment history, Elvis' life insurance has never been cashed. This anomaly has led conspiracy theorists to question why, if Elvis had truly passed away, no one claimed the multi-million-dollar payout. Life insurance policies are typically paid out shortly after an individual's death, especially for someone as famous as Elvis. Yet, there's no record of his policy being collected. This raises suspicion. If his death were genuine, wouldn't his family, the beneficiaries of the policy, have cashed it in? The untouched sum suggests to some that Elvis might still be alive. Some speculate that the policy went unclaimed because collecting it would have required undeniable proof of Elvis's death, like a body or death certificate. If, as some theorists believe, the death was staged, collecting the insurance could have exposed the entire plot. By leaving the policy untouched, the Presley family might have avoided drawing attention to potential discrepancies. Critics argue that the unclaimed policy could be due to mundane reasons such as legal complications or a deliberate choice not to pursue it. However, for believers in the grand scam, this unexplained detail is seen as evidence of Elvis's survival. The unclaimed insurance policy remains a key piece of the conspiracy, fueling the debate over whether the king truly died in 1977. 5. A sudden decline in health. The Elvis Presley conspiracy theory often centers on the dramatic and sudden decline in his health before his death. Despite his well-documented struggles with prescription drug dependency, weight gain, and other health issues, the rapid deterioration of his condition in his final years has fueled speculation that his death might have been staged. In his last years, Elvis' public appearances dwindled, and when he performed, his once vibrant energy and charisma seemed to wane. He appeared bloated and fatigued, and his voice lacked the dynamism of his earlier career. While many attribute this decline to his lifestyle, such as drug dependence and poor eating habits, some conspiracy theorists propose that Elvis intentionally worsened his health to create a believable scenario for his disappearance. By appearing in declining health, Elvis might have made his death seem more plausible. A gradual decline would be easier for the public to accept than the sudden death of someone who seemed well. Some theorists suggest that Elvis's health issues were deliberately exaggerated to prepare the public for the announcement of his death. This theory aligns with the idea that Elvis, overwhelmed by fame, sought to escape his public life. By faking his death, he could have escaped the pressures of stardom and lived privately. For those who subscribe to the theory, Elvis' health decline was not merely a result of his lifestyle, but a key component of a well-orchestrated plan to fake his death. Whether this theory holds any truth remains a subject of debate. 6. Elvis spotted at the airport. A key piece of evidence in the Elvis Presley conspiracy theory is a reported sighting of him at an airport shortly after his supposed death on August 16, 1977. According to the story, a man resembling Elvis was seen boarding a plane to Buenos Aires hours after his death was announced. Dressed in a white jumpsuit and sunglasses, he paid for his ticket in cash and used the alias John Burroughs, a name Elvis had previously used. Witnesses at the airport were convinced it was Elvis, despite the news of his death. The calm demeanor and minimal efforts to conceal his identity, beyond sunglasses and an alias, fueled speculation that Elvis was escaping public life. Skeptics suggest it was a case of mistaken identity, but for believers, the use of John Burroughs is seen as a deliberate clue indicating Elvis faked his death to live secretly. 7. FBI involvement. Was Elvis an informant? A lesser-known theory suggests Elvis Presley faked his death to protect himself and his family while working with the FBI as an informant. The theory proposes that Elvis was involved with the Fraternity, a criminal group, and was recruited by the FBI to help dismantle it. When his safety was compromised, the FBI supposedly helped him stage his death and enter the Witness Protection Program. Freedom of Information Act documents reveal FBI interest in Elvis during the 1970s, hinting at his connection to government officials. Some believe his desire to combat rising organized crime led him to use his influence against it. By faking his death, Elvis could avoid media scrutiny and continue his covert work. While no direct evidence ties Elvis to FBI operations, the theory adds a compelling twist to the mystery surrounding his death. 8. The King's handwriting after death. A curious aspect fueling the theory that Elvis Presley faked his death is the existence of letters and documents supposedly written by him after 1977. Handwriting experts and fans have examined these writings, which appear to match Elvis's distinctive style, leading some to believe he continued to communicate with select individuals long after his supposed death. A notable example is a letter from the 1980s, allegedly written by Elvis to a friend. The letter included personal details only Elvis would have known, and its handwriting closely matched his known samples. Although some dismissed it as a forgery, handwriting experts argued that replicating Elvis's unique style precisely would be challenging, bolstering the claim that the letter might be genuine proof of his continued existence. Other post-1977 documents, including signatures on fan memorabilia and personal notes, have surfaced. Each piece has been analyzed and compared to Elvis's known samples, showing striking similarities. For conspiracy theorists, these documents are seen as evidence that Elvis was alive and maintained contact with a select few. Skeptics argue that handwriting can be easily forged, and that devoted fans might have created these documents as a hoax. They also note that handwriting analysis is not always definitive. Nonetheless, the abundance of writings attributed to Elvis keeps the theory alive. Some believe he might have left these writings intentionally as clues, enjoying the dramatic flair and the idea of immortality. Whether these writings are genuine remains unresolved, but they provide a tantalizing piece of the conspiracy puzzle. 9. Elvis's Graceland Tombstone error. The discrepancy in Elvis Presley's tombstone spelling, which reads Aaron instead of the traditional Aaron, has fueled conspiracy theories suggesting that the man buried at Graceland isn't Elvis. While the official explanation is that Elvis's parents chose the more traditional spelling for his grave, theorists argue that the misspelling was intentional. They believe it was done either by Elvis himself or by those involved in a scheme to indicate that the grave is a decoy. Elvis went by Elvis Aaron Presley during his lifetime, and official documents confirm this spelling. For those who think Elvis faked his death, this misspelling is seen as a red flag. They argue that Elvis, known for his attention to detail, wouldn't have allowed such a mistake. Some believe Elvis may have even instructed that the tombstone be deliberately misspelled to communicate with fans. Despite these theories, Graceland officials and Elvis family maintain that the change was a personal choice. Nonetheless, the misspelled tombstone continues to be a focal point for conspiracy theorists, who view it as evidence in their belief that Elvis is still alive. 10. The wax dummy theory. One theory that emerged after Elvis Presley's death suggests that the body in his casket was a wax dummy, not Elvis himself. Observers noted that the figure in the casket appeared unnaturally stiff and overly made up, resembling a wax figure rather than the beloved Elvis. Supporters of this theory point to the unusually cold temperature of the casket, speculating that it was cooled to prevent a wax figure from melting in the summer heat. They also highlight discrepancies in Elvis's appearance, such as a notably sharper nose and stiff hands, which they attribute to the limitations of a wax model. Some conspiracy theorists argue that this wax dummy theory supports the larger belief that Elvis faked his death to live in anonymity. They suggest that a wax figure was used to create the illusion of death, while Elvis secretly escaped. Critics dismiss the theory as implausible, attributing the changes in Elvis's appearance to natural post-mortem effects, embalming, or the work of a mortician. Despite this, the wax dummy theory remains a captivating element of the debate over whether Elvis truly died in 1977 or staged his death. 11. Elvis's secretive autopsy report. The secrecy around Elvis Presley's autopsy report has fueled speculation that the king of rock and roll faked his death. Officially, heart failure was cited as the cause of death, but the full autopsy report remains sealed until 2027, 50 years after his death. This unusual delay has raised suspicions and intensified conspiracy theories suggesting that Elvis's death was staged as part of a cover-up. Unlike other celebrity autopsies, which are typically released soon after death, Elvis' report has been kept under wraps, leading some to speculate it may contain information contradicting the official cause of death. There are theories that the body examined might not have been Elvis's, or that the report could reveal a different cause of death. Rumors also suggest that Elvis's father, Vernon Presley, might have had a hand in sealing the autopsy to protect Elvis's alleged plan to fake his death. Inconsistencies in the timeline and conflicting reports about Elvis's condition further fuel these theories. Critics argue that the sealed report is likely due to privacy concerns, not evidence of a cover-up. Nonetheless, the secrecy continues to intrigue fans and conspiracy theorists, who eagerly await the report's release in 2027 for potential revelations. 12. Elvis middle-aged look-alike spotted in multiple locations. Over the years, numerous reports have claimed sightings of Elvis Presley look-alikes across the globe. These doppelgangers are often described as resembling Elvis in voice, gait, and mannerisms, with many being middle-aged or older, mirroring the age Elvis would be if he had survived past 1977. A notable sighting occurred in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where witnesses reported seeing a man who looked remarkably like Elvis, complete with large sunglasses and a similar build. This man was said to have slight graying hair and a bit more weight, fitting the profile of an aging Elvis. Similar sightings have been reported in the US, Australia, Canada, and Europe. Some fans speculate that Elvis faked his death to escape the public eye and has been living quietly under various identities. They point to Elvis's desire for a quieter life and his interest in Eastern philosophies as evidence supporting this theory. Skeptics argue these sightings are likely Elvis impersonators or individuals who naturally resemble him. Despite skepticism, the frequency of these reports contributes to the ongoing Elvis Lives conspiracy, keeping the legend of Elvis Presley alive for future generations. 13. Elvis manager profited from his death. One theory that Elvis Presley faked his death involves his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. Shortly after Elvis's death, Parker quickly moved to capitalize on it, signing deals for posthumous memorabilia and re-releasing Elvis's music and movies. Some believe Parker's swift actions suggest he was aware of the death being staged, raising suspicions about his involvement. Parker, who had a complicated relationship with Elvis and was known for taking a significant portion of his earnings, might have encouraged the fake death to protect his own financial interests. His rapid shift to commercializing Elvis' passing, including re-releasing albums and turning Graceland into a tourist hotspot, fuels this theory. Parker's seemingly indifferent demeanor and odd comments post-death further heighten suspicions. Critics argue Parker's actions were merely those of a business manager preserving Elvis's legacy, driven by financial motives rather than conspiracy. Nonetheless, Parker's behavior remains a point of intrigue for some theorists. The mysterious life insurance policy. One compelling aspect of the theory that Elvis Presley faked his death is the unclaimed life insurance policy. Conspiracy theorists argue that if Elvis had truly died, his beneficiaries would have cashed in the policy, which remains untouched. Elvis reportedly took out a large policy before his supposed death in 1977, but it has never been claimed. To theorists, this suggests that Elvis is still alive and his death was staged. Elvis was known for being meticulous about his finances, leading some to believe that keeping the policy unclaimed was part of his plan to fake his death. Critics, however, suggest other explanations like legal complications or privacy concerns. Despite these arguments, the unclaimed policy continues to fuel speculation and intrigue about whether Elvis Presley might still be alive. 15. Elvis' voice. Recorded after his death. One of the most bizarre aspects of the Elvis Presley conspiracy theory is the claim that his voice was recorded after his death. In the years following his passing in 1977, various recordings allegedly featuring Elvis's voice emerged, leading some to believe he continued to live in secret. Notably, in the early 1980s, a caller claiming to be Elvis spoke on a radio show with a deep Southern drawl and made cryptic comments, convincing some fans it was indeed the King. Additionally, a recording of a singer with an aging Elvis-like voice appeared, fueling speculation that Elvis was still performing privately. Skeptics argue these recordings are from impersonators or misinterpretations, but for believers, they suggest Elvis might have evaded fame's pressures while remaining connected to his fans. These recordings, whether authentic or not, continue to intrigue and fuel the mystery surrounding Elvis's life and death. 16. Unexplained activity on Elvis Graceland property. Conspiracy theorists claim Elvis Presley might still be alive due to mysterious activities at Graceland, where he lived and is buried. Since his death in 1977, there have been numerous reports of strange occurrences on the estate. Visitors and staff have reported seeing shadows and figures around the property, particularly near Elvis's gravesite. Some even claim to hear his voice or music when no one is supposed to be there. The high level of maintenance at Graceland is also cited as suspicious, suggesting it's still actively used by Elvis or his associates. Additionally, unexplained noises and objects moving within the mansion have fueled speculation. Critics argue these phenomena are natural or due to the house's age, but the tales of strange occurrences continue to intrigue fans and perpetuate the belief that Elvis may still be alive. 17. Elvis disappearing act at his funeral. Elvis Presley's funeral has sparked numerous conspiracy theories, with some claiming the disappearing act of his body as evidence of a cover-up. Witnesses reported oddities such as the casket being closed or obscured, and unexplained delays during the service, which fueled speculation that the body was switched with a decoy. Theorists suggest these moments allowed for the replacement of Elvis's body with a look-alike or wax dummy, creating an illusion of his death while he escaped unnoticed. Skeptics counter that such irregularities likely stemmed from the complex logistics of a high-profile funeral and the emotional chaos of the event, rather than a deliberate cover-up. Despite these explanations, the idea of Elvis faking his death and slipping away remains a popular aspect of his conspiracy theories. 18. Elvis' appearance in posthumous TV specials. In the years after Elvis Presley's death, several TV specials and tributes featuring either archival footage or new technology have sparked speculation that he might still be alive. For example, the 1978 TV special, Elvis, a Legendary Performer, combined old footage with new segments, leading some to believe that the lifelike appearance of Elvis in certain segments suggested he might still be living. Recent hologram performances of Elvis have also fueled conspiracy theories, with some claiming these digital recreations hint at his continued existence or perpetuate the illusion that he never died. Critics argue that these appearances are simply products of modern technology and creative production, not evidence of Elvis's survival. Despite this, the use of such technology continues to spark speculation and keep the legend of Elvis alive in the public imagination. 19. Unusual legal disputes. Over Elvis's estate, legal battles over Elvis Presley's estate have fueled conspiracy theories suggesting he faked his death. Proponents argue that the intricate disputes over his will and estate were deliberately orchestrated to distract from the possibility that Elvis is still alive. Following Elvis's death, numerous parties, including family members and business associates, engaged in legal disputes over his inheritance. The complexity and contention of these battles, coupled with allegations of mismanagement and fraud, led some to speculate that they were a smokescreen to cover up Elvis's continued existence. Additionally, the rapid commercialization of his estate, with Graceland becoming a major tourist attraction, and ongoing releases of Elvis-related merchandise, is viewed by theorists as part of a plan to maintain his legacy while keeping him hidden. Critics argue these theories are unfounded, attributing the disputes and commercial success to typical legal processes and estate management. 20 unconfirmed sightings of Elvis in various countries. The Elvis is alive conspiracy theory is fueled by numerous unconfirmed sightings around the world. Reports have emerged from places like Canada, Australia, and South America, where individuals have claimed to see Elvis living incognito. One notable sighting in Canada described a man resembling Elvis living in a small town, interacting with locals, and performing impromptu songs. In Australia, a sighting at a cafe included descriptions of Elvis-like attire and behavior. Critics argue these sightings are likely mistaken identity, exaggeration, or hoaxes, pointing out the prevalence of Elvis impersonators and the allure of the conspiracy. Despite skepticism, these sightings continue to intrigue fans and theorists, keeping the mystery of Elvis Presley alive and fueling hopes that he might still be alive and living a quiet life elsewhere.